Welcome to Learning AutoCAD. This is Mei Wong, presenter of today. So first of all, we'll go to the introduction. For your information, AutoCAD is not only used for 2D design, and it can actually create stunning 3D designs, as you can see on the screen. For documentation, and nowadays the AutoCAD 2013 can even connect to the cloud to collaborate on designs and access from your mobile device. So for the first part of the AutoCAD, we will take a look at the AutoCAD interface. Nowadays, the AutoCAD has a new user interface with ribbons, panels, so as you can find the commands easily. So for the next part, we will learn how to set up the workspace and making settings in AutoCAD using options command, as well as using the keyboard input to call out the command. So as you can see here, this is AutoCAD 2010. It is not the latest version. For your information, if you are using the lower version of AutoCAD, these tutorials will be useful as well, as the commands are the same in all versions of AutoCAD. So let's take a look at this AutoCAD 2010 user interface. As you can see on the top here, these are ribbon user interface with panels. For example, draw panels. When you click on the arrow, it will show you more commands which is hidden. And when you mouse over on any of the buttons, it will show you the description of the commands. For example, line, it creates straight line segments, and it will show you the description on how to create this line. It would be the same for others command as well, if you mouse over on every one of them. So this is Home tab. The next tab will be Insert. If you click on it, it will show you other panels and buttons inside. So this is on the top of the user interface. When it comes to the black color workspace here, we call it workspace. This is the place where we work out with our drawings. And you can see on the top here there are 3 buttons which is similar to our window, where there are minimize button, restore button, and also the close button for drawings only. These 3 buttons, bear in mind that it will be different from the 3 buttons over here. The 3 buttons, as you can see over here, it will show the minimize for the whole AutoCAD. And as well for the close button here, if you click here, it would mean to close the whole AutoCAD software. And when you look at these 3 tabs here, it will mean the model space. Model space means the place where you work out with your 2D designs in an unlimited space. You can create how many drawings and objects in your workspace as you want. And how about the layout? In a default drawing, there will be 2 layouts, and these 2 layouts, it will be your paper space, where you can print out your drawing as you wanted in your printer. And in the bottom part of the AutoCAD, there will be coordinates. As you move along the workspace or your paper space, it will show the different coordinates. And there are 3 coordinates, as you can see, meaning for X, Y, and Z axis. So if we are working on the 2D design, it will only show coordinates for X and Y axis. To the right hand side of the coordinates, it would be the buttons to help us in creating the drawings. For example, when you mouse over, it will show you this is the grids, snap modes, grid, auto mode, which is to do perpendicular or 90 degrees straight line in our drawing. Polar tracking to help us in creating designs using angles. Object snap, when you have setting on the object snap, it will help us on creating designs by snapping on the right mode, for example midpoint and points. Object snap tracking, when you have the object snap on, usually this tracking would be on, is to help you to create the drawings with the object snap tracking. So dynamic UCS would be more useful when it comes to 3D design. Dynamic input would be to create your designs in a specific coordinates. This is to hide or show line weight. And finally, this button is to show you the quick properties. And don't worry about that. There'll be a lot of functions that, as you can see, we will go through this in later tutorials. And on the right hand side here, it will be more useful when it comes to the paper space. This would be your workspace switching. If you click on this gear symbol, there will be 2D drafting and annotation, 3D modeling, or AutoCAD Classic. If you're used to the classic version of AutoCAD, you can always switch by clicking on AutoCAD Classic. If you click on AutoCAD Classic, you can see our user interface would change to a classic user interface where there are buttons instead of the ribbon and panels. This would be convenient for those who are used to the older version. And when you switch the workspace, it would take some time for it to generate the user interface. So this would be the classic versions, where the buttons are the small icons. And if you have switched to the classic version, you can always switch back to the ribbon user interface. So the workspace switching is available from version 2009 onwards. So inside this table here, you can see that you can customize your workspace by doing the setting inside. On top here, it would be the new button, open, and if you want to save your drawing, this is the one. The plotter button, and the big A here, it would be our file menu. If you click on it, and when you mouse over on any of the icons here, it will show you the options that you have inside. So our drawing can actually export to PDF and other formats, as you can see in the list. So next, let's take a look and open up one of the drawings that I have. So I'll be going to open a file which I locate in my desktop. So by simply click on the desktop button, and go inside my Learning AutoCAD. And go inside the Learning folder inside. I'll open one of the drawing that I have here to show you how to use the basic commands like zoom, pan, to open the drawings, you can select it and click open, or you can double click the drawing to open up the drawing. So in this drawing, there are circumstances that you have a drawing which is not centralized, which means the drawing that you want to look at is not in the center of the workspace. So in this case, the shortcut command to make the drawing centralized would be to double click the roller mouse. If you double click the roller mouse, the drawing would be centralized, and this is called zoom extend. This drawing is actually a layout of a building. For example, I want to look at this portion of the layout. If I want to look at this portion only, I need to zoom. And the command for zoom would be the first letter of the word, which is Z. So by hitting Z only, and then you can spacebar to enter the command. I want to zoom in this area, so I just click and draw out a rectangle to cover this area. And the second click, it would bring me to look at this area that I need to focus. So if I want to move around the drawing, the shortcut would be to hold on your roller mouse. If you hold your roller mouse and push to the right hand side, you can pan around the drawing. This is called pan. When you click the roller mouse, it will show the hand picture. This is the pan picture. So if you have done with the pan and move around the drawing, maybe you want to take a look back to the whole picture of the drawing. So by just simply double click the roller mouse, or you can use the Z command again, and when you hit the Z and spacebar, you can right click to choose the command in the list, in the shortcut list we call it. So to make the layout centralized back, you can use the extend options. So by just hitting and choose the extend option, it would back to the normal centralized drawing again. So probably you have problem with your mouse, with the roller mouse, that you want to pan around, you have difficulty. So another option to pan around the drawing is by hitting the command pan. So the commands would be the first letter of the word, which is P for pan. So to enter the command, spacebar. When you spacebar, you can immediately see the cursor becomes a hand button, and you can pan the drawing again. So when you finish the command, escape. When you hit the escape button, the cursor back to normal. So as you can see, in AutoCAD, you would be the master of the software. So you are giving the commands to the software to do things that you want. So whenever you put commands in AutoCAD, you can see the commands showing in the command line. This is the command line. Whenever you want to zoom, you just call the command. So the zoom command would be Z following the first letter. If you make sure this is the command that you want, spacebar to continue. So probably this time I want to focus on this area. I draw a box, and then probably I want to pan around, and when I have finished it, you can see that my command is clear, which is I can move on for the next command, which is zoom extend. If I want to zoom extend, space the Z for zoom extend, and then I choose the extends to zoom back and centralize the drawing. So next we want to check out the setting of AutoCAD. The setting of AutoCAD, you can find it in the options. In the options, you can find the settings for AutoCAD, for example, like setting up the workspace from white color to black color. The one I'm having now is the black color. So the place that I can set for colors is in the display tab. Under display tab, there is colors button. Hitting the colors button here, it would bring us to another page where we can check out 2D model space, sheet layout, and others 3D. For 2D model space here, the default color would not be black. If you want it to be black, you need to choose in this list. So for example, sheet layout, you want it to be black as well. So you can choose the color as black and apply and close. So the crosshair size would be the crosshair of your cursor on the workspace. If you want it to be bigger, you can set it over here. For example, I want it to be 20, or I can slide the slider to change it. So let's see if I slide it to 50, and we'll want to have a look at the changes by clicking OK. If I click OK, the table will be exit. And immediately you can see in the workspace that the crosshair becomes very big. So sometimes there are people who would like to change this crosshair to a bigger size so as to have a straight line both X and Y axis. But I don't think this is necessary in our tutorials, as we can use auto mode, which we have just introduced at the bottom there, to make sure lines are straight all the time. Just now we have changes on the layout for paper space. So in the paper space, if I change it to black color, you can see in the paper space or layout that this is in black color. So we can switch between model and paper space by just clicking on layout or model. So that's all for our first part of AutoCAD.